Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, 27th of June, 2023. My name's Anil. We're going to do some analysis on two or three different instruments, and we'll try to see if we can find any potential trade setups. Please do remember, this is for education purposes only and not intended as investment advice. This is a little bit about myself, and go back and look at this. Been trading a long time, traded virtually everything: futures, bonds, commodities. Also teach and pass on some of my knowledge to those who are interested. The normal risk disclaimer: please take a moment to read this. Trading is risky, and make sure you know what you're doing before you start. Today, we're going to do some market analysis, and as usual, I'll be taking requests. If you have a particular instrument, a currency pair that I can access, then I'll happily go through the process that I go through with any currency, any instrument that I'm trading. We're also going to take a look to see what kind of news might be affecting the markets today and probably for the rest of the week, just to see if we need to be careful when we do our setups, that any important news we're going to be allowing for that. We're also going to be looking at some of the free tools that Zenfinex has, and basically here's the domain. It's free. I use some of these tools in this analysis. I'll probably look at a couple during the process this morning. The webinar will be about 30-40 minutes long, and do take a note of the domain. We'll probably look at the economic calendar, some technical views, and some featured ideas that other analysts put forward on this portal for you to have a look at, learn from, and potentially use. Let's just see if we have people logging in. Yes, we do. Great. So let's go straight to charts, which is always the fun part. Right, okay, so we can do a little bit of a recap on what we looked at last week and see how it panned out. I think we looked at, I can't remember if we looked at gold. Just pull some of our previous charts up and see if it panned out. I believe it did. But as I do with all my trading, I start from scratch, basically. That way I can take and allow for movements, in the last days, in the last day today, and make sure that my analysis has that taken into consideration. And as always, feel free to ask any questions. More than happy to help. And let's go from there. So let's have a look at the British pound, which is quite interesting at the moment. If I go down to some smaller time frames, we can look at what we looked at. We saw this upward channel, which in reality has been following quite faithfully, for over a month. It's broken some previous highs, had an exhaustion bar here, and really it's for us to see now whether there's a continuation of this move, or are we entering into a consolidation area. It bounced off some levels of support. Those of you who were with me, at the beginning of the month, we looked at a breakout of this. It did exactly that. We drew a level. It hit that level several times, gave us several opportunities to go in the direction of the trend. We had some obviously news come out last week on the British pound in terms of the interest rate increase, the unexpected increase, and that had a big spike. Didn't quite get to the absolute high. Let's put a cursor on there. But certainly came close to it, which basically means that we could be seeing a bit of sideways action. And I'm not sure if we're going to fall off this this ledge here and start making our way back down here. I doubt it. But like with everything, I want to see evidence and price action to kind of confirm that. So I'm going to get rid of all this now, and I'm going to start again. And I do this every single time. I get rid of my lines and basically start from scratch. Complete top-down approach. Start with a weekly. Look at any levels that might be interesting to us. And we can see here the top. Let me just make that a solid line. I think I had this line for something else. Make it a solid line. And let's make it sort of standard green. Oh, it's not a very nice color. Let's try a different one. Let's try darker green. A little bit thicker so we can see it on your screens. So I've drawn a level at 28.53. So clearly, right, markets went up, found resistance, and now is hovering. It's now deciding whether it wants to attack some of these previous levels in the past, or whether it's going to take a break and and revisit some of these low areas. So we've got to start looking for some clues. So let's start drawing our frame. Those of you who come here regularly, I frame the market. I try to find out where markets may turn. And therefore that helps me with my stops and targets. So let's move that up a little bit. So what happened here? Why did I draw it here? Just a little bit higher here. And the reason why I put it there is because of this spike here. So if I magnify that a little bit, remember this from a weekly perspective, right? So prices came down, had some level of support here, but it couldn't get past this point here. And from this point here, markets indeed fell. And we're now going to see if it's going to revisit this, because there'll be a lot of liquidity around this level here at 33.12, probably the round number 3300. And we have some congestion here, so let's draw that in a little bit. So what I'm doing now, I'm trying to frame where this market is going to go, where the value of the British pound is going to go. So let's go to the daily and see if we can find any levels here. Welcome, guys. Nice to see you here back again. As usual, feel free to ask any questions or for me to look at any charts that you might be interested in. So I've drawn the weekly lines. Now we're going to draw any daily levels that might be of interest. So I've drawn it here because I'm interested in why it turned here, why it turned here, why it turned here, broke through here. So it'll probably come and retest this and either continue in its upward direction towards these levels here, or that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to consolidate for a bit because it's had a long move for quite some time. While I'm here, I shall draw a channel, which I can see. Let's move that up a little bit and narrow it down. So from previously, we had so the channel is expanding. We had, with this new price action, kind of the tighter channel expanded, but it's still looking like it wants to go up. So let's see if there's any other daily levels I can find, which will help me determine where we want to get in, where we want to put stops and targets in. So let's just observe this price action here, right? So this level here, pushed up, couldn't get past, pushed up, couldn't get past, fell back into this congested area here. Let's draw that in, which I believe we had in there before anyway. Right, so this congestion, it bounced off that congestion, and really it's still on its march up. So I expect from a daily perspective that it will probably have a retest at this level here. And this is acting as quite a nice level of support. So any kind of stops could be around this area. Let's go to the 4 hourly, see if we can get a little bit more information. So from a 4-hourly perspective, we can see that the bounce off here, breakthrough of here. So this is definitely a level that we want to take notice of, the 26.29 level. It's kind of stuck in the middle of this little range here, which is fine. So now what we're starting to do is to see if prices come down, where do we want to buy? And where will our targets be? So let's just draw this consolidation above the resistance. Right, so this is now acting as a nice level of support. It's hit it a couple of times, and this is a 4-hourly. So over the last couple of days, it's hit it, but it couldn't continue up to retest this. This spike or this long wick hasn't been retested. So now we're starting to look to see if we want to continue with the buy, where our entry levels will be, where our stop levels will be, and where our targets will be. The only thing that I'm looking at the moment is that from a 4-hourly perspective, there's also a little bit of consolidation here, right? So it's gone sideways for a couple of days, and it just had a poke through. So we'll be looking to see if that poke through, to use a technical term, closed above that level or whether it came back into it. And it looks like it came back into it. So now, how do we play this, right? So we've seen a level of consolidation. We've seen a high as a turning point, and we're looking really now to see if we can close above this level here and then use this level as a potential to take it back up to this area here. I think it will easily reach, there's some resistance levels here, but I think it will come and fill this this wick here, because there's going to be lots of liquidity above this level here, lots of liquidity above here. And if we can break this level here, and let me just draw what I think it might do. So it might go up, down, and then we're looking really to see if it can revisit this area here with us taking some profits around here. Ooh, let me get rid of that line. Around here. And our stops are going to be, for an aggressive stop would be around here, but the safer one would be here. And as it started getting towards the first target, I'd be moving my stops to sort of this level here and just managing, the trade. So this is a trade idea purely based upon a top-down approach. Look at what's been happening in terms of price, and then developing an idea to the extent that you don't want to just take a breakout from this consolidation here. Let me just put the cursor up. So this is consolidated, right? So it's been going up and down, no direction. It's had one push up, but at the moment, it actually hasn't closed above here. And it's 8:14. So this has happened in the last hour or so. So if we move this line across a little bit, what we're really looking to do is to see if price will close above this level. Because if I just make this a little bit more accurate. Right, so this peak here, couldn't get past it, broke through. Now we're looking to see if this is a stop hunt, taking away some liquidity here before it comes back down to this area here. So we're going to, as I say, look for a close and a retest above. If it doesn't close and retest above, then it's still in the range, right? It's still in the range, and this poke through might be a clue that it's on its way down. So, and that's what you have to do as a trader. You're vigilant in terms of what is actually moving price. Why is it breaking above these levels here? Remember, this is from a 4-hourly perspective. So even this poke through, right, it's getting nowhere near it. So this shows me that it's not ready to break above this level and continue going up. And so this whole idea is premised on the basis that there's a close and a retest above this level here, right? And if it doesn't, then either it will then continue consolidating, and we'd be looking for a break below this level here to see, and then obviously we'd switch our idea. We'd look to see if it broke through here, retested here, and then we'd be looking for a downward move. First target here, and we could look to see if this level is going to be retested. Look, it came off here, broke through, bounced around. So that's the trade ideas that I have for the British pound, right? Based upon top-down approach, look for consolidation, look for a breakout, retest of that consolidation, both with the view that it could go either way. Whenever markets are consolidating, we don't actually know if it's going to break on the upside or the downside. And that's why it is important that we make sure that the candle breaks above these important levels here and retests it. So patience is an important thing. Great, we've got some more people arriving. And of course, as always, feel free to ask any questions, and I'm more than happy to answer them. Now that's the British pound. Let's have a look at gold. Let's see what's happening on gold. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing with gold. We'll start with a top-down approach from a weekly perspective. And we've been watching these triple tops for quite some time. And probably around this 46 level is going to be hard for it to break, right? So from a weekly perspective, let's put the lower level down on the weekly. We'll drill down to the daily. So hopefully you see that I do the same thing. If you watch the videos I've done weeks ago and watch them now, I'm doing exactly the same thing. And that's important as part of your trading journey, right? It's to develop a repetitive habit, right? And that way, because what you don't want to do is try something this week, try something else next week, and try something else the week after, which is fine if you're in the discovery phase of your journey, because you're trying to find a strategy that kind of suits your personality. But it means that you have to go through lots of trial and error. And I've done that many, many years ago, and I've now boiled all my strategies. I do have algo strategies, but I've boiled my price action market structure strategy down to this. Start from the weekly, go to the daily, identify key levels of turning, right? So markets turned here, and now we're looking for levels that the gold price may come down to. So we can see here, this was a level of resistance, came back, bounced off it, retests it, and shot back up, right? Back into this area here. It's consolidated from a daily perspective around sort of 1982 to 46, quite a big range, but still means that this level now is acting as resistance, right? So if price goes back up, right, we've got a target to aim for because it will probably come and retest it. But what we can also see, there is a long way down. So let's see if we can draw some lines that can give us some ideas on where prices may turn. So let's just examine some price action, right? So let's just magnify this a little bit. So what we had, right, is this level of support, a retest of support would have been a great place to enter with some targets around here. Would have been a nice trade here. And then it created another level of resistance. And it's been bouncing off here, tried to poke through, probably to get rid of some of the stops or buy orders that may have been above this level here, poke through them, and really it's been sort of grinding downwards. And if I start drawing some channels, you'll start seeing what I mean in terms of direction. You know, what is our direction that we want to be looking at? And when does that direction stop being a direction that we want to keep following? So the only tools that I use for my price action stuff is support, resistance, trend lines, channels, and fibs. So I can see that price is turning around a fib level. So let's put a fib from the top of here to the bottom of here. Sorry, to the top here. So just to, you know, illustrate what I'm doing, just so in case I'm doing it too fast, here's the top and here is the bottom. Right now, it's bounced off the 618, right? So this is an important level, because those of you who understand fib trading is these levels, 50%, 618, 38 are all important, right? So what we're looking to do, and this is, by the way, I'm just on daily at the moment. I will drill down to 4 hourly, but we're starting to, albeit looking like there's lots of lines, it's starting to give me a very, very clear indication of you know, where price may be heading. So if I now go to the 4 hourly, and if I'm going too fast, you know, just pop a question in the chat box and say, you know, could you repeat that? I didn't quite understand that. What are you talking about? I'm happy to do that. So what we've done now, we started with 0 lines. We went to the weekly, drew some frames. We went to the daily, started building some channels. And the channel has been hit a number of times. And because everything is pointing downwards, we're really looking to see if we can find opportunities for the gold prices to come down. Let me just make this a little bit tighter so everybody can see that. So we've got some boundaries now, right? So I'll just pull that in a little bit. So now I've got a frame. Let me just answer a question that's popped up. Hi, can we have subtitles in French? Audrey, I'm sorry, I don't speak French, but I think if you replay this on YouTube, so this will be posted on YouTube, and I think with YouTube, you're able to select language, and hopefully my voice will, you know, be translated. So I think give it like about 4 hours, and then this video, this webinar will go up on YouTube. Just look for Zenfinex, the main Zenfinex, and then go to either the latest videos, which this will be on. And I believe on one of the settings on YouTube, you can just say, you know, can you give me subtitles in French? If that doesn't happen, just contact me, just email me, and I will try to help you out some other way in terms of getting that. Okay, great. Thank you, Audrey. Thank you for the question. Right, so back to gold, right? So we're in this downward channel. We've hit the 618. There is a level, right, which the market will probably have to come back and revisit, because this fast move away, let me just pull this away. And Audrey, I'll try to speak slowly as well. So whilst it's not French, I hope you'll be able to get something out of this. So this fast move away from this level of support, often what happens, it will come back and revisit these last moves. I mean, it may come down to this and continue up, but I've got a feeling that the bottom of this channel, if I just extend the channel a little bit more, it will keep following this channel for a little bit longer. So we're looking, if we're looking for a sell opportunity, we're looking for it to pull back into these areas here. So let's start drawing some areas where I've been looking to put my sell orders, right? So the reason why I'm putting sell orders are that after this consolidation, so we have some consolidation here, right? So price went up, down, up, down, up, down, tried to break through, went back into the channel, had another go, and we're looking really for a retest for prices to do this, to go up, hit the top of the channel and the bottom of this consolidation area, and then move back down to the bottom of the channel, right, with opportunities to remove partials, partial meaning part of our orders, and let the last one kind of run a little bit. That's how I see gold at the moment. Now, what could change that idea? The only thing that could change that idea for me is if prices were able to go back up into this level here, and then we'll be looking for a retest back here, and then continue up. So these are the trade ideas for gold. I've got any more questions here? Right. I hope all this makes sense, and I'll do another currency pair. Why don't we do an index? Is there anything that anybody would like me to particularly look at? And I'll show you how you can consistently find trading opportunities by just following these simple steps, right? Because prices always, I say always, support resistance will often be retested, and it's that retest that we want to take advantage of. So if I've got no requests, I'm actually going to let's look at something different here. JPY, again, look, same channels, same longer term channels here. It broke through, retested this level here. Those of you who watched some previous videos of mine, we drew a consolidation area here, which actually started probably from here. Consolidation here, went away, remember, wait for the retest, put your stops around here, around this level here, right? And it's done a nice move up, broken through. You would have taken off some of your order size at these different levels, but the USD JPY just seems to want to keep going, and it will probably head back to this level here. So there's still some room in here as well. But the fact that it's overextended, we're gonna need a pullback before we enter this trade. So let's see if there is a pullback level that we can identify. So we can see here this orange box. Let me just get rid of it for a second. So we've got resistance, broke through it, resistance, and I'm pretty sure it also acted as support and resistance previously. It came back, hit it, so there's a possible opportunity for it to come back, back into these levels here. Let's see if we can magnify this a little bit. So at the moment, right, what it's done, it's bounced off this level, hit its head on one of our resistance lines, broke through, but it actually hasn't retested it. And if I go to an hourly, right, so this level now, and I'll just change the color of this so we can make it distinguished a little bit. Let's put it to green. Right, so resistance, broke through it, actually hasn't come to retest it. And we can see a channel formed here. Right, so although it's going sideways, certainly for the last 16 hours, so price moved away, couldn't get past here, so we'd be looking for a pullback for it to continue back up to the 45. Obviously, we want to see how price action behaves around this level here. This retest is what we're going to be looking at. And if it does come back and it doesn't go too past the channel, then there's no reason at this stage why it can't continue going up either to the top of the channel or to the longer level that we just looked at when I zoomed out. Any questions so far? Just want to say thank you for everybody. I've got a nice group here. And, you know, the objective of these webinars is to try to get you into the habit of finding a strategy, a repetitive strategy that you can find out, look for setups, because there's no point just getting lucky, right? Just putting a buy order in and hope it will, you know, go in your direction. What you want to do is to find something that you do consistently over and over and over again. I keep repeating myself because that's what's going to get you to become consistent. You know, there's no point just like getting one or two trades right. You want to be able to adopt the same sequence in a disciplined way, and you'll start seeing trading opportunities appear when you've done this enough times. You know, when I say enough, I don't mean, you know, years and years. If you do the same thing, you'll please give a news-based analysis that you showed last time. Right. Okay. I think what you mean, thank you, Raj, for that question. I think what you're meaning is that one of the things that I do, so right now we just looked at charts. Let's just go back to the portal and show you how news can impact various things. So let's just go to this section here. Oops, not that section. Share. Let me just get the right one. Just bear me for a second. Let's get the news portal up. Right, so those of you who haven't seen this portal here, this is the Zenfinex URL that I showed. It's got a number of different things, technical views, which can give you some trade ideas. Remember, this is free, so all you got to do is sign up. It's free. And by the way, Audrey, I think this is also multi-language. I think you'll be able to see this in multiple languages. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'm pretty certain that you can read this in French and other languages too. So technical views is basically giving you some trade ideas, and we're looking at USD CAD, downside prevails. So it's showing you analyst views on how they see the USD CAD. It's using some Bollinger Bands, moving averages, and RSI to point the direction of the trade. Look, they're doing like a level of support here, broke down. So they're saying in this particular example, a short position below 1.3155. So they're saying that once it goes below a certain level, then go short. But they're also giving you an alternative if it goes up, you know, above 1.3155, look for further upside. So this is a nice tool for part of your learning experience, and see how other analysts look at this. In fact, look, here's the USD JPY. We just looked at it without looking at this, and they've got a bullish perspective on this as well. So they're saying long position above 14325 with targets at 1437, extensions at 143.90, and it's giving you some support and resistance lines. So it's a really good way if you're going through that learning process and see how I look at my support and resistance, how other people look at support and resistance, and you might be able to find ways to improve your trading, because that's what these webinars are for. They're to help you improve and you know, make sense of this. The question Raj asked was, let's have a look at news and impact. So under economic insights, this tool here is pretty cool. I use this every single day. It gives you an idea in this example, what important high impact news reports are going to be announced this week, right? So you've got Tuesday here, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And what you're able to do with this tool is just plan out your week and say, okay, which are the times, if I'm a news trader, that I want to trade. You know, if I'm purely trading news, it will give you the time of the news. This is on, this is today actually. Yeah, it's Tuesday today, yes. What news is coming out at 1:30, durable goods, and some Canadian news, and some at 3 o'clock, we got some consumer new home sales. And why this is quite different from other calendars is that what we're able to do, for example, if we're looking at new home sales month on month in May, we're able to look at a price chart by clicking on one of the icons here. So let me just go back. There are a number of icons right here, which will give me some additional information in terms of what happened in the past. First of all, this was last month's new home sales, 4.1, and they're projecting less new home sales or forecasting. And what will happen at 3 o'clock today, the news announcement will be made, and it will either be as forecast or greater than forecast or less. Why is that important? It's important because we're able to look back in time. So these are new home sales, but now we're going back on previous months, and we're able to see how that news affected, in this case, the euro dollar, because we have a dollar pair in this, and the euro is a very liquid currency. So we're looking at how in May last month, new home sales were forecast to be -2, but they actually were better than the forecast by quite some considerable amount, which basically had a positive effect. So if I just click on this, if I click on the actual square, you'll see numbers appear here. I can't do it simultaneously, but if I look at May 22nd, actual was 4.1, forecast -2, that had a positive impact. In April, right, the forecast was 0.5, the actual was 9.6. So what was the impact then? So the impact was short term up and then down. So let's just see another tool on this is the impact hours after the news event. So again, we're looking at new home sales month on month. Actual previously was 4.1, forecast was 0.2. What happened to the euro dollar after that news announcement? Initially went up in the 4 hours after the event, and then it came down, and then it closed more or less where it started 4 hours after the event. But what you're able to do is say, look, let me see what happened 15 minutes after the news. Well, 15 minutes after the news, it spiked up by 13 odd pips, and then it came down. So this is a really interesting and good tool to use, because what you're able to do is plan out how, if you are a news trader, and look at how forecasts and actuals match up. Because the other thing that you're able to do here through volatility, you're able to see for previous events, 36 ended up bullish after 4 events, and 64 ended up bearish after 7 events, and the average range. So it's giving you lots of information in terms of how to prepare for the trade. You can actually see how price moved after the news, 1 hour, 4 hours after the event, basically. So it's another tool that you can use to help you prepare for these news items that are coming up, let's say, later on today, new home sales. And as I said to you before, just sign up. It's free, and have a look and experiment by going to Impact, look at how actual and forecast behaved on different news items. And that might give you a bit of a heads up in terms of what to expect when news is either actual, greater than forecast, or below forecast. And you can then look at the price action and see what happened a number of hours after the news announcement. Very useful tool, because If you see big movements, you may be able to take advantage of some of those movements, but obviously you need to do your own research and analysis. And one other tool I'll have a quick glance at is featured ideas. I mentioned that in the PowerPoint at the beginning. Featured ideas is basically giving you some signals. In fact, the Australian, let me just see which one this is. So this is gold against Australian dollar. Let's just look at a major currency. Well, we've been looking at the USD JPY. So they're bullish from a 1 hourly perspective, right? So everything that we're looking at is bullish from my analysis to a couple of things. We found a pattern called the hammer on 27th of June, which is today at 4 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And so you can utilize these different tools, one, to look at news items, second, to look at some technical analysis, and third, to look at potential trade setups using, price action. And you're able to hover over the pattern they're referring to, and it tells you a little bit about what the hammer pattern is and what happens after the hammer, etc. So it's a great learning tool for those of you who are interested. Right, we're coming up to the 42nd minute of this webinar. I try to keep it between 30 to 40 minutes. I always end up by asking, are there any questions? Because if there's questions, I can answer them right now. If not, I'll be back on Thursday, and we can track some of these ideas and see how they're performed. So I'll just give it a couple of minutes to see if there's any questions. I think we've answered a few questions already. Let's see here. Great. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday, and this will be on YouTube in a few hours. So have a look at it on YouTube. Leave any comments. If you want to get in touch with me, just let me know, and I'll be happy to help you on your journey. Thank you for attending, and see you on Thursday.